Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 6th day of this 21-day Sahaja Yoga meditation course. Very happy they've all joined. My name is Neelam. I am from the Netherlands, and today I'm visiting the south of Florida, and I'm very happy to join you all. If today is the first time that you're joining, welcome. We're very happy to have you. Don't worry too much about missing the material from the last days. It's absolutely okay to join in any time. And we also offer the chance to look back at the recordings from previous days. So if you would like to catch up on the material, that's absolutely possible. More details about that will follow. For now, before I present the agenda of this evening, I would like to just remind you of a couple of practical things. Today we'll be doing a foot soak. That's you saw the slide just before. Here, there we go. So if you haven't prepared these items yet, I encourage you to do so right now. We will be using it very shortly. So if you could get a tub for some lukewarm water, some salt, a towel, and rinsing water, that will be great. So for this evening, what are we going to do? Well, yesterday we looked at the qualities of the chakras, the energy centers along the central channel. We have reviewed the left channel and the right channel, and also a hand massage. Today, we are going to look at a very beautiful topic, being the natural elements. All the natural elements such as fire, earth, water, air are great tools for us to balance ourselves and to get into a deeper state of meditation. So today we'll go a little bit deeper into how does that look like. And we're going to try a couple of techniques that are very practical and really make a lot of difference in our spiritual journey. So like every evening, today's program will be about 1 hour. After that, there is optional Q&A. So you're happy to stay if you would like. And as always, Sahaja Yoga is completely for free. And yeah, without further ado, let's introduce the presenters of tonight. So Sudeep and Michelle are present. Hi there, good evening.
Hello, good evening. Hello, everyone.
Hello,
Thank
everybody.
you so much for joining us.
Thank you. So, shall we just introduce ourselves?
Please, yes, if you could introduce yourself briefly, where do you live, and also perhaps something fun fact about yourself, and what you do next to teaching Sahaja Yoga meditation.
So, my name is Sudeep Hegde. I live in a small town called Clemson in a small state called South Carolina in the US. And I work here at Clemson University as an assistant professor of industrial engineering. And I have been practicing Sahaja Yoga since 2008. So, other than teaching Sahaja Yoga, I do teaching, more teaching. So.
More teaching. Great, thank you.
Hi,
Michelle?
Yeah, sure. So Michelle Simons, I'm zooming in from Lynn, Massachusetts, about 10 miles north of Boston. And when I'm not teaching Sahaja Yoga, I'm teaching addiction counseling courses and doing some supervision for counselors that work in addiction. And fun fact, Sudeep used to be in Boston in the small state of Massachusetts, but he left us for warmer climates.
Fair enough. I understand why. Well, thank you both. So for today, we will have two guided meditations. We will also have a video on a lecture of Shri Mataji Nirmala Devi, who's the founder of Sahaja Yoga. And as I said before, after that, we will have some optional Q&A. So perhaps let's just get started. Sudeep, would you like to start with the first part of this evening?
Sure, thank you, Neelam. So, as Neelam just mentioned, we will be starting with a foot soak today. So, to give you a quick background and some information about the foot soak, it is a technique to use at least two of the natural elements. So, traditionally across various traditions around the world, there have been five natural elements that have been talked about: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Right. So the foot soak and each of these elements has a profound effect on our subtle system. So those of you who have been to previous sessions in the series have probably heard about the chakras and the subtle energy channels within us. And each of these channels and chakras have their own unique qualities, but they also interact with nature around us, which means the natural elements. So, and there are very specific ways in which each of these elements interacts and influences our subtle system or different parts of our subtle system. So the foot soak is a combination of two elements, the water and salt. Salt represents the earth element. And it is primarily a clearing technique where we take a tub of water and salt. I have one before me right now. And we put our feet into the water and we meditate. So what happens when we do the foot soak and meditation is the elements draw out any negative energies or anything that is weighing down our subtle centers or chakras. So, as we go through the motions of our everyday life, as we go through the day, it is natural that we accumulate a certain amount of fatigue, a certain amount of tiredness, which also shows on our subtle system. So just as we brush our teeth, floss, and bathe every day, this clearing technique is like clearing out and flossing these chakras, which makes them, healthier and more fresh at the end of the day, or whenever we do the foot soak, really. So it is a very important technique in our overall well-being. So the first thing that this does is it clears our chakras and helps those chakras be healthy and balanced. But the other thing that it helps is when the chakras are clearer and more balanced and healthy, it allows the kundalini, which is that sacred energy that resides at the base of the spine in the sacrum bone, to rise and come up through the seventh center with much greater force. There are more strands of the Kundalini, more strands of the Kundalini are able to rise, pass through the chakras, and ultimately it gives us a better meditative experience. So this clearing technique is very helpful both in terms of maintaining our health and the health of our chakras, but also to facilitate a better, deeper meditation. So let's get started. We will start as we always do by raising the Kundalini 3 times and then balancing ourselves, giving ourselves what we call as a bandhan at the level of each of the 7 chakras. So we'll start by raising the Kundalini. So the left hand goes up like this and the right hand wraps around it. So we're raising the energy, we bring it up over the head and we tie a knot. The same thing, second time, we raise the energy, bring it up over the head and we tie 2 knots. This is to establish the Kundalini above the head. So the third time, same thing, and we tie 3 knots. And now we will balance our system. So we'll bring the right hand near the left hip and we'll raise the energy of the left side, make an arc over the head and bring it all the way down to the right. And then we'll retrace that path, raise the energy of the right and bring it down the left. So this was the balancing at the level of the first chakra. So we'll do this 6 more times because there are 7 main chakras. We move our hands slowly with nice fluid motions. And let's just see how we're feeling. Let's feel our own subtle energy. On our hands, on our head. And now we can also direct this energy into the water and the salt, if you have it before you, by just making clockwise motions with the hand, moving it around like this, and keeping your attention at the top of your head. We allow the hand to let the energy, the vibrations pass into the water and the salt. This way we are charging this, the elements with those vibrations, with all that subtle energy, so that it becomes a better instrument to help cleanse our own chakras. So now we can put both our feet inside the water. Let's take a few deep breaths. And as we breathe, as we inhale, let's pause for a moment or two before we exhale again. And then after we exhale, let's pause again for a moment or two before inhaling. This is also a good way to steady our attention, bring it inward. Let it settle down. And move from the gross to the subtle. Let's put both our hands towards Mother Earth by just letting your hands hang by your side, pointing towards the earth. Let us try to feel a connection with Mother Earth. Like we're touching her with respect, gratitude, humility. The earth is the most material of all the elements in it. It's in solid state. So let's appeal to Mother Earth to take away, to absorb all imbalances, all negative energy, all heaviness, from our body and from our subtle system. Mother, please awaken the qualities of my first energy center. Please awaken the fragrance of innocence and purity. I surrender to you any tensions, worries, thoughts, emotions. We can bring both our hands back on our lap. Let's keep our attention at the top of our head. We can place the right hand on the stomach, just above the navel. The foot soak is particularly effective in clearing the first three chakras. And also the region that surrounds the second and the third chakra. Move the right hand slowly in a clockwise direction from just near the top of the stomach to the left side to below the navel to the right and back. Just continue to slowly move your hand around. And we can pray to that energy within us. Oh Mother, please clear my void. Please purify and establish the Guru principle in me. We affirm, I am we can now just place a hand stationarily right on the navel, which is where the third center is, the third chakra. Please enlighten the qualities of this center. Please make me contented, satisfied at every level of my being. Let that contentment express itself in my being as generosity. Make me fully satisfied to allow my attention to go higher towards the spirit. Can bring the right hand back. Just keep our attention at the top of the head. Now we can conclude the foot soak. What we will do is take a mug of fresh water, take 1 foot up outside of the water, rinse it off, then make sure you don't put it back in the water. Take out your other foot and rinse. And so once both your feet are out, we will dispose the water. But for today, we'll just set it aside for now, and we'll continue the session. And we can go dispose it in the toilet at the end of the session. Now, in just a minute, we will listen to a talk by Shri Mataji. So I'll give you a quick introduction. In the talk, Shri Mataji talks about the importance and the significance of our own seeking. We have evolved from animals to the human state, and there are many animalistic tendencies and instincts that we still carry around as human beings that prevent us from going higher. But then there is this desire, the seeking in all of us to go from the material to the spirit realm. So it is important that we address that desire, and meditation is the way to do that. So let's listen to the speech, and let's try to stay in a meditative state so that we can absorb the message.
I bow to all the seekers of truth. First of all, we have to know what is the truth. People are seeking all over, but they don't know what they are seeking and what should they get after they are seeking. This seeking can lead you into many diverse directions. Some of them could be very, very dangerous and absolutely misleading. And many must have also felt that way. I am sure there are many who have found it out, but they think there is no way they can return. The seeking is very simple to understand, that you want to know yourself. All the time we say, I want this, I like this, I that. But who is this I? What is it? Who is this one myself? What am I? Do I know anything about myself? It's very superficial knowledge we have about ourselves. Everybody has said, all the religions have said, you should know yourself. There's no difference on this point. Actually, in all religions, if you go in the essence, there's no difference. According to time, it was little bit stress on one point and sometimes on another point. But the fundamental thing is that you have to know yourself. And how do you know yourself is the point. People will say, do this, give up everything, give up your family, give up everything, wear this kind of dress, cut your hair or shave your hair and all that nonsense. It's so outward. If you put little bit of your intelligence, you'll see it's all outward. It's so skin deep, it has no meaning. So what has to happen? We talk of a last breakthrough of the evolution. How do you achieve it? When you are evolved up to the state of human beings, we have to know one thing for definite, that there's something missing within us. Otherwise, world would have been a most beautiful place, the paradise to live in. But something wrong with the human beings, and what is that? Is to understand how we have come through evolution. And as human beings, there are so many things of the animal stage lingering within us. The way we talk, the way we try to appraise others, the way we talk to sort of dominate others, the way we want to snatch everything, the way we are only worried about our food, this, that. All this is not really noble human beings' sides. These are all lingering from that animal instinct. All right, we have to accept, because we are human beings, so they are to be there. The thing so much frightening. But also we have one more thing, that we think. And we think and think and think and think, no end of ourselves sometimes. Sometimes we think we should protest for this. Sometimes we feel that we must become very violent. All these things are coming from our human mind. Animals won't be violent for something just for violence sake. They'll be violent, all right, but for their own purpose of killing some animal or something. But here we have groups and groups of people who just enjoy violence. This is another development in the human awareness, I think, that we enjoy destruction of others. But also there is a seeking. This is a sign that people want their evolution. They want to evolve into a better personality. That they want to become something which is complete. Now, how do you achieve it? Now, I must say that we have not achieved our evolution ourselves up to the human level. So, to achieve a higher awareness, there must be some arrangement between us. And that is the arrangement we are not aware of. And that arrangement is that within you is the power, it's your own power to give you this last breakthrough through the awakening of that power. Already you have been told about it. It exists, it is there, and it is the right of every human being to get his self-knowledge, self-realization. Sahaja, Saha means born with you. With you is born the right. And why should we not ask under fundamental rights? society that we should have our self-realization, which is your own. It is there already placed within you. You don't have to do anything. Of course, you can't pay for it. How much did you pay for your evolution so far? And how can it be different from different people? Because in every human being, this power, which we call as Kundalini, exists. Whether he is white, black, yellow, blue, any color. Whether he belongs to north or south, any place. Whether he belongs to this country or that country, they all have this power universally placed in their Kundalini. Even if I say everybody has a heart, so why should you have differentiation? But this mind, this human mind creates this differentiation and this problem saying that, of course, they are not of our country, they don't belong to a group. And like animals, again, we start getting into groups of different, denomination. Like some people have their fork and spoon put this way, so they are one group. Some people drink coffee, so they have a group like that. We are very good at forming groups. This is also animal instinct, I think, that we try to form groups of such stupid things. And then we can have wars, because we must fight. We are a group, something great, so we should fight others. All these instincts that are within us are inheritance. They have come to us. They say it is in our genes. Still, can we change the genes? Can we transform our personality into something higher? And for that, I tell you, there is a power within us. All of you have that power within you. And what does it give you? It passes through 6 centers, as told to you. It nourishes it, it integrates it, and ultimately it pierces through the last fontanelle bone area. We can call the actualization of the baptism, and is connected to the all-pervading power of divine love. Again I say love, divine compassion and divine love. So you get connected to that power which is all-pervading. If you ask a doctor who runs our heart, he'll say, it's the autonomous nervous system. But who is the auto? Who does all these things? Who does all the living works? Look at these flowers, beautiful. Who has made these flowers? It's different flowers. How does this Mother Earth differentiates and how she gives all these flowers? Do we think about it? We take it for granted. All living work, we take it for granted. But it is done by this divine power. Believe me, there is this divine power around us which protects us, which looks after us, which guides us. And also, above all, it loves us. And it cares for us. It wants that we should all receive the blessings of this all-pervading power.
So let's continue to just see what we feel on our hands, leaving our hands open in our lap, and just absorb some of the words that we just heard from Shri Mataji, founder of Sahaja Yoga. Let's take a deep breath. And as we breathe out, allow our attention again, if it's kind of fallen a little bit, to come back up to the top of our head. This is called the Sahasrara chakra at the very top. So in Sahaja Yoga, our attention goes beyond the mind. The mind can be an obstruction to our meditation. So our meditative state, our attention when we're in this meditative state is here above our heads. So we can use our hands just by simply holding over our head. And then we use the left hand just sort of open in our lap. And even when we're talking, going about our day-to-day lives, we can have our attention here, which supports us so much in whatever we have to do, whether it's mundane tasks, working our jobs, or enjoying a social life or something like that. We're going to talk a little bit more about using the elements. So Sudeep led us through a foot soak meditation, and that's something that we use every night. Most Sahaja yogis, if we have the energy at the end of the day, we try and foot soak before we go to bed. And how I look at that is it's like a bath on the inside. So all the nerve endings from all these energy centers or chakras within our subtle system are on our hands from the wrists down, and on our feet from the ankles down, and also on the top of our heads. So the simplest thing we can do is put our feet in the water, and it gives us a nice cleanse of all the chakras. So some of the other elements that we can use are the air element or the ether. Fire element we use for when we're feeling a little heavy, or anything on sort of what we call the left side. But what we're going to do now is just put a little bit of attention on the right side and use the ether element to clear that. So the foot soak clears the lower chakras, like Sudeep showed us, from the void, the Swadhisthana chakra area from our waist, and the Muladhara at the base. And now we're gonna use the air, the ether element. So if we keep our right hand in our lap, and we'll take our left hand towards the sky, and we're just gonna put our attention on the right side of our body. So our right side is our action side, it's our physical side, and also our mental activity happens all from the right side. So a lot of times people have trouble sleeping. People have lots of thoughts. They can't stop the thoughts. This position here can really assist us in slowing down our thoughts, getting settled, and just sort of what we call cooling off our right side, because the right side can get overheated at times. And so the right hand is open in our lap, left hand towards the sky like this. So palm is backwards, fingertips towards the sky. And let's just close our eyes and bring our attention inside again. So every time we breathe in, we can just feel our attention going inside, deeper and deeper. Not paying any mind to anything, distractions, or anything on the outside. Give ourselves this gift of not having to worry about anything on the outside. And feel the universe all around us supporting our meditation. See if we can even notice our own Kundalini, which resides in the sacrum bone, running up the base of our spine, up the spinal cord, slowly bringing our attention up all the way to the top of our head. See if we can feel what we call the cool vibrations all around us, cooling down our right channel. And we can ask, please allow this ether element to cool down our right side. Please absorb all the heat, all the aggression, all the reactions inside, to be absorbed by the ether element. Please take all the thoughts, And just relax and surrender and allow the universe to support our meditation. These elements act, all we have to do is ask. So we're going to just run our attention along the right channel. So a little below the navel, just putting our attention there. Right in the center below the navel is the beginning of the right channel. We're going to slowly move it to the right side of our waist. This is what we call the Swadhisthana chakra on the right side. It's connected to our creativity. Slowly up the right side of the stomach, where our liver is located, which we call the seat of our attention. We can ask, please cool our livers, settle our attention. Slowly move it up to the heart on the right side. We have 3 hearts in Sahaja Yoga, a right, a left, and a center heart. So the right heart is connected to our sense of responsibility. So please cool down and settle our sense of responsibility. Take the weight off our shoulders. We can run up our attention past the right shoulder a little bit and the right Vishuddhi chakra on the right side of our throat. It's connected to our speech, how we speak to ourselves and others. So please cool down. Give us the tone of compassion in our speech and not aggression. Watch our breathing. And then we're going to allow our attention to cross the forehead at the center. Please grant us the quality of forgiveness. And bring our attention to the left side of our head, where the right channel ends. So we know in science that the left side of the brain controls the right side of the body. We also understand this in Sahaja Yoga. So the right channel ends right here at the left side of our head, can create the bubble of the ego if our ego gets too big. So we can ask the ether element to please cool down our ego. Please burst the ego bubble. Now let's all take our attention to the palm of our right hand and just see how it feels. Are we feeling any cool vibrations? Any particular fingers feel different than the others? And just kind of notice it. And again, slowly bring our attention back to the top of the head. We can now take both hands up towards the ether element. So I'm just going to raise my hands, you can't see them, but all the way up to the sky. And we can look up to the sky, even if we're inside. And just say, is this the cool breeze of the divine vibrations? Is this the cool breeze of the divine vibrations supporting my meditation? And then we can slowly bring our hands to heart level and just see if we can feel that support all around us of these cool vibrations and allow them to just be absorbed into our subtle system. And as they're going in, they're healing us, correcting us, any problems that we have. Now our hands are flowing with the cool vibrations. And we'll just sit like this with our eyes closed for a few moments. And then we can slowly bring both hands back to our lap. Now that these cool vibrations are flowing through our hands, we're going to take our right hand a little below the navel and just slowly raise our Kundalini up a few times right to the top of our head. Let's do this 3 times. See what we feel over our heads. And just leave our right hand over our head, just a few inches. See if we can feel the cool vibrations. We can let the hand float higher. It can go really high, and allow our attention to rise up with the palm of our hand, as high as it wants to go. Once we feel our attention is here, we can check in and get their attention right up to the palm of our hand. Then we can bring the hand back to our lap. So we're going to stay in this meditative state. If at any given time we need to reestablish our attention, we can just bring the hand to the top of our head and then follow our attention, follow the palm of our hand with our attention, and get ourselves back to that state. And while we're sitting in this meditative state, we're going to listen and watch this beautiful video that was created by an artist in Sahaja Yoga named Sia. She plays beautiful music, she sings beautifully, multi-talented. And we're going to watch a little video of this river in Cabella Laguare in Italy. This is a place where Shri Mataji resided for many years and supported Sahaja Yoga. Many people that practice Sahaja Yoga lived and still live in this area in Cabella. And there's a really special river that runs through there where everybody loves to foot soak, sometimes full body soak, even if it's really cold. And the cool vibrations and the energy in that area is so strong. Shri Mataji just had some magic about her that really touched the earth there. So we're going to watch a little video of this river and listen to some of Sia's music. If we'd like to keep our eyes open, we're welcome to, and watch the nature. And if we feel better with our eyes closed, by all means do so. So we'll watch that video now. So again, let's just notice what we're feeling on the palms of our hands. Straighten up our backs if we've started slouching a little bit. And again, allow our attention, if it drifted at all, to come back to the top of our heads. Take a deep breath. And just surrender anything that we've left over, any tensions that still might be lingering. And to conclude this part of our program, we're going to end the same way that we started, by raising our Kundalini and giving ourselves a bandhan. So with the left hand in front of our stomach, keeping our attention inside, the right hand's going to go around. We go all the way to the top of our head, tie a knot. We do it again with 2 knots. See if we can feel like this Kundalini supporting us more and more, coming up stronger and stronger as we raise our Kundalini and tie these knots and sort of establish that attention at the top of our head. And finally, 3 knots. 1, 2, 3. And then now that the vibrations are flowing, they're in our hands, we can use this aura of protection by giving ourselves what we call a bandhan, with our left hand open in our lap. Right hand comes over, and we're going to go back and forth 7 times for all 7 energy centers or chakras. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So thank you everybody for joining us. Everything felt nice and cool and great. So it's probably, I'm going to assume everybody's out there in a nice deep meditative state, and we're going to turn it back over to Neelam.
Thank you so much, Michelle. And also thank you, Sudeep, both of you, for this really beautiful meditations. And really kind of bringing us to this beautiful state. Also, the video was really beautiful. The river that Michelle talked about in Kabbalah, I've been there very often in my life, and it indeed has a very special kind of magic around it. Foot soaking there is very relaxing, and I always feel much more thoughtless and much more present after foot soaking in that river. So that was beautiful to hear those sounds again and bring me back to Italy for a bit. So thank you for that. So for tomorrow, we are going to go a little bit deeper into the sensitivity in our hands and in our energy centers. As Michelle mentioned, all these energy centers are on a physical level connected to the nerve endings on our fingers. And as we grow deeper in our meditation, and as we are more connected to this Kundalini energy, and our attention also gets stronger, we may start to feel different sensations in our hands. And tomorrow we're going to go a bit deeper into bringing our attention to this sensitivity, and with this really dive deeper into who we are and what the state of our chakras are, and how we can then continue that to improve our subtle state. So that's what we will be doing tomorrow. One more thing that we would like to remind you, I hope you enjoyed the foot soak. I definitely did. I started meditating quite a while ago, like 7 years ago, but it was only after I started using foot soak regularly that I really saw a difference in my meditations. It's almost like you're trying to climb up a mountain, and you have a heavy backpack, and a foot soak just kind of allows you to leave that backpack so that you can rise deeper and higher in your ascent, in your spiritual ascent. So it's a very beautiful technique. And from now onwards, we're going to be doing this every evening. So we would kindly request you to prepare one of these foot soaks every evening. And hopefully you will also see the effect of it like I did. one more thing is that we have a couple of resources that are available to you all to go deeper and to also join this community of the 21-day course. So if you haven't joined the WhatsApp group yet, we have a QR code here so that it links you to the website. You can enter into the WhatsApp group where you will receive some Sahaj messages, some reminders about the course and other material. Also on the website, we have all recordings available. So if you've missed a couple of days, or perhaps you would like to rewatch some evenings to go over the material, it's all available there. We also have handouts available and more information on Foot Soak. So do check it out if you haven't done so. So this concludes the formal part of this evening. Thank you all so much for joining. We will continue for those who would like to stay. We have a Q&A session. Also, the presenters will share a bit of their experiences with us. So you're very welcome to stay. Of course, don't feel obliged. And for those of you who will log off, thanks again so much for joining. We hope you have a great evening and hope to see you tomorrow. And then for those who would like to stay, we have two things going on. We have a breakout option for breakout rooms. So if you have any specific questions on anything that you heard this evening or from previous evenings, or you have a concern or you would like to discuss something, we would highly recommend you to chat with the breakout room help. So we have one of the Sahajogis that are present in the chat. They're called the breakout room help. So you could chat them and they will set you up with one of our team members to go over any of your questions or concerns, or perhaps you would just like to engage a bit with us. So we're very happy to do that. So please don't be shy. Or if you would like to ask a question, you can also do so to one of the chat Q&A team members. So within the participants, we also have this 3 chat Q&A participants, and you can address any questions that you have that you would like to have discussed in a bit more anonymous way, or a bit, not so face-to-face. You can message to them. We will perhaps also take a couple of your questions and together with the presenters, discuss it together. And apart from that, it would also be great to have the presenters back here, where we will ask them to share a bit of their personal experiences with Sahaja Yoga and also with this topic of the natural elements. So if I could invite the presenters back. Hello. Great. So as we wait for the Q&As to come in, maybe we can start with a bit of a sharing of experiences. It was really such a beautiful session today. And as I shared, for me, I feel a very big difference when I foot soak and when I don't. So maybe we can start with that question. How has it been for you? Have you meditated a lot with the natural elements, and what kind of change do you see in your personal life?
Sure. Yeah, I'll share. Foot soaking is my favorite treatment. I live about a block from the ocean, so even in the fall and the early spring, I tend to be a little more heated up inside. I say I run hot. So I really enjoy the foot soak. I can really feel a difference. Especially, I spoke about working with addictions because, that can be a bit heavy. You can start to feel, even if I'm not physically tired, even at the end of like a not so hard day, sometimes you can feel just really exhausted mentally or heavy. And I'm so grateful for being down the street from the ocean, because before I even go into my house, I can, I'll sometimes just go to the beach and put my feet in the ocean. And you feel so different. Like all of a sudden I don't need a nap anymore. That wasn't the case today. I did take a nap, but, but not always, it's not always needed. And just for anybody, I always like to share this experience, even though it seems a little, different. It's something that I experienced when I started foot soaking. When I was taught foot soaking about a week after getting my self-realization and joining a Sahaja Yoga group on a weekly basis, they showed us foot soaking, and I started to have really like wild dreams of my past every single day. And I'm so grateful that I had, a mentor that, or, the person that taught me to ask what was going on. Cause I said, is there something wrong here? What's happening to me? And I wasn't really sure. And how she explained it is like, you're cleaning out all your past. So I didn't discover Sahaja Yoga till I was in my 40s. So that was about 9 years ago. So you do the math. But I had a lot of past, that wasn't, such a pure lifestyle, let's say. And so what I noticed was a lot of that past was just being cleared out. And I will say after about 9 days, and one day I did take a break because she told me if it's too much and you can't sleep, just take a break. And I took one night off. And then after the 9 days, that never happened again. So it was like this whole, like just piece of my past kind of clearing out. And it was really significant because I just remember these dreams were just not nightmares, but just kind of wild. So if anybody experiences that, I felt like it's important to share because sometimes we don't understand what's happening, and this, this deep cleansing is happening within us, and it's fantastic. So sometimes you just got to ride out the storm a little bit though. So
yeah, right. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Mine is not so dramatic, but we used to. I used to live in Buffalo, New York, which is very close to the Niagara Falls, for many years actually. So we used to go to the Niagara Falls quite often, and on occasions where it was warm enough. I don't think they allow that anymore, but we used to sometimes do a foot soak a little bit upstream in the river. And if anyone has been to the falls, will probably know that the water element is extremely strong there. It says the rapids and just the volume of water. So I remember I went there with 2 or 3 other Sahaja Yogis. We had just taken them; they were visiting, and we saw the falls, and then we just sat on the lawns by the river and just sat on the bare ground on the grass and meditated for a few minutes. And in the whole falls area, there's lots of seagulls, lots of them flying around actually, and they're all very restless creatures. And we meditated for about 10 minutes and then opened our eyes. And then a whole flock of them had just come and they stood there in front of us, just like a few feet away, and just staring at us, ignoring all the litter and the food lying around and all of that, and other people there and so forth. They were just fixated on these few people meditating. So that was a very telling experience for me in my early days in Sahaja Yoga, where I realized that nature, this resonates with the natural elements and with nature, and it was one of those proofs for me to show that I am connected with nature around me. So that was a beautiful experience that I remember. So
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing, both of you. If I can also share something very small, these are also really beautiful experiences, but something super practical that I've been doing to use the ether element. We already did in the meditation, we cleared out our right channel, and I perhaps you can relate, sometimes at night when you can't sleep, you have a lot of thoughts. I sometimes have problems falling asleep because there's just so much going on in my mind. And even though foot soaks help, sometimes it's just the middle of the night that I can't sleep, or I even wake up and I just feel a lot of heat and like a lot of thoughts. So even just sitting up in the bed and putting my hand like this and kind of allowing the ether to cool down the right side, it really helps me to fall asleep. It's become like almost something regular that I'm doing in the night because it helps me so much to kind of clear my thoughts. So that's also something very practical to use. to make use of the ether element.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Sorry, Michelle, you were saying?
No, that's excellent. I can, I'm very similar to you probably, where the right side gets heated, and even like sticking the right foot out of the covers or something, even you get that cool for the right side. But thanks.
Yeah.
Great. So we also have a couple of questions coming here. One of them is, I think I hear this quite often, so it would be nice to talk about. If either of you want to answer. The question is it normal to feel sleepy after the meditation? This person felt tired yesterday and they actually fell asleep during the meditation. So if either of you would like
Michelle,
to...
you want to take that?
Sure. Yeah, it's definitely normal. When I first started Sahaja Yoga, I didn't know if I was dreaming or meditating. Like I would go into a weird little, like maybe even almost a dream state. I think that tends to be probably the left side a little bit. So always light a candle. The fire element will help. And you can keep it. I keep a candle also, like just to balance out the left side sometimes. Just on the left side of the body. And I know when these, as these 21 days move on, they're going to teach us more about this stuff. But always light the fire element somewhere, whether it's on your altar or, near you on your left side. But that might help the sleepiness.
And just to add on to that, it's probably also an indication that there is some tiredness in the system, in the body, and it's just sort of you're getting that space to just release, and your body is looking for that rest. But as you keep meditating regularly, and you can certainly try the candle treatment that Michelle just showed. You should come into a more balanced state. I think that will naturally happen, where you will not fall asleep, but you will feel rested as you meditate. So, and I have experienced something very similar to, you tend to fall asleep, but then you also learn to go deeper in meditation and not fall asleep, even when you're tired. So,
yeah, I agree. It's also... the key here is also indeed balancing. So sometimes when we're too right-sided and think too much, indeed, as they said, it's like a pendulum where the Kundalini helps us to balance. So we have to indeed go sometimes if we're very much on the right, to go back into the balance, perhaps we have to go very much to the left, and that may be sleeping. But it's all just a process of clearing. And indeed, as you both mentioned, it will get better over time the more you practice.
I just think Pushpa Rao just sent me a little note. So, and I believe this also works. So, just like we raise the left hand today to clear out the right energy channel, if you're feeling tired and perhaps sleepy, you can also try raising the right hand, which helps energize the left side, or sort of it creates that balance. So, you may also try that. It'll help with staying awake and being balanced.
Yeah. Yes, thank you, indeed. Then we have another question here that I think is also quite important. Someone is asking whether it's normal to not feel the coolness certain days. If yes, why does that happen? And again, I think this is an important question, because sometimes when we start meditating, and us as yogis talk a lot about the coolness and the cool breeze, and perhaps you're not feeling it, or one day you're feeling it and the other days you're not, and you may think, oh, but what's happening? So I think it's very good to address this, that it's completely normal. So if either of you would like to follow up on this.
Sure, go ahead, Sudeep.
So that is very normal. Like I mentioned at the beginning, one of the things that the Kundalini tries to do when it's in its own natural, its tendency is to clear your chakras if there is an imbalance there. If there is no imbalance, if there is no constriction there, it just flows all the way through. But if there is some sort of an imbalance, or something that's blocking its path as it's passing through each of the chakras, then you may not necessarily feel the cool breeze up there. because very, very few strands of that energy are actually making their way up. The rest of it is actually working on balancing your energy centers, and you can actually tell on your hands where it might be getting stuck, and which chakra, because each chakra, you can feel each chakra on a specific fingertip or part of your palm. So the elements are also very helpful in clearing these chakras. So you're actually helping the Kundalini with that process, so that more and more strands of that energy can come up, and then you will feel the cool breeze. So when I first started meditating, got my realization, I didn't feel anything at all. Like no cool, maybe some warm, but that was about it. It was not until few months after I started that I first distinctly felt the cool breeze. So, so please be patient with yourself if you're not feeling it.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Thank you. Michelle, would you like to add anything?
No, well said. Just be patient with yourself. Just like Sudeep said, I had the same experience. It took a while. And I tend to be impatient. So I'd be frustrated, like, what's wrong with me? But, really don't condemn yourself. It will happen. One day you'll just be like, oh my God, I think I'm feeling it, and that's usually how it goes.
Yeah, no, very true. And talking about patience, maybe there's one more question that it kind of ties into this. We have one person who explains that they've been meditating for quite a while, about 2 months, like 10 minutes a day. It was going well, and up to a point, this person could meditate up to an hour. However, this last week, it's been very difficult and there was no desire to meditate. And now this person is even struggling to even have 15 minutes of like presence. And so, this person just asked if there's any insight or any tips that you might share with them.
What an insightful question. I think that happens to all of us at times. And it's the quality of the meditation, not the quantity, is what I learned in Sahaja Yoga. So, it's important that we get that quality, that deep meditation versus, an hour, if we just get that depth, even in 10 minutes. But one thing I do is I ask for what I need. So if I feel the lack of desire, I sit down in my meditation corner, by my little altar, and I just ask, please give me the desire, or show me what's getting in the way. What's the obstacle? And usually shortly after that, we'll get the answer, or we'll just go into meditation and be like, oh, so sometimes it's just about asking. So probably the fact that this person said it out loud into the universe, it's probably going to work itself out.
Yeah, completely agree. We have these, sometimes there are some phases like this that we do come across. Meditation is also a very active process. It is a churning that happens inside. You're actually progressing, spiritually when you meditate, which means that it's a journey and you will come across certain hurdles along the way. And the process of clearing out every now and then when you hit some sort of a subtle obstacle within can mean that there's some struggle going on, and you may not necessarily feel that meditative or even perhaps the urge to meditate, because there are other forces that are trying to pull you down to a grosser level, get your attention away from your spirit. But I think that is when it's really important to stick with it, to just continue. Even if it means you're doing for shorter durations each day, it's important to keep that consistency. And I have experienced this. Eventually, it just gives. Like there is a release, that meditative state comes back with even greater depth once you get past that phase. So I'm repeating myself, but please be patient with yourself and stick with it. So
Beautiful. Yes, indeed. couldn't agree more. Just very small practical thing. I have a couple of people messaging me directly for breakout room help. But we have actually one of the participants within this chat is actually called breakout room help. So if you could just message that specific person, then they will set you up into a breakout room, just so that we're clear. Great. Okay, so I don't see so many other questions at the moment. This one is also interesting. Someone is wondering whether we could go a little bit deeper into other examples of using the elements. We've used salt to represent the earth element, but this person is also wondering about other elements. So, Michelle, you briefly mentioned the candle treatment. Maybe you can go a little bit deeper into that, for example.
Yeah, sure. So anytime we're feeling that heaviness, anything, things like lethargy, feeling a little depressed, especially the winter here in Boston is very unpleasant, in my humble opinion. And that's when the candle and the fire element comes in really handy. So I have these great shells because I live by the beach. So you get these nice like clam shells, and then I just stick a candle in it. And again, I am more than confident that they will teach this in more depth as these 21 days moves on. But just keeping this on the left side, and we run the candle sometimes up and down the left channel, or just simply holding our left hand towards the candle flame so that you can feel the heat, but you don't burn. Obviously, we don't want to burn our fingers, although I have, and maybe that's what needed to happen at the moment. But yeah, just keeping the left hand towards that flame. And we can use the earth element, just taking the right hand and placing it flat onto the Mother Earth at the same time can be really helpful. So and see how you feel. If you feel heavy, and then just sit like this for maybe 5-10 minutes, and you'll notice, whatever that heaviness will lift.
Yeah, I can only second that. If you are lucky enough to be in a place where you can sit on the grass, outside of your home, that's great. Although just sitting at home and putting your hands on the earth, on the floor, is also very effective. But I have noticed that when I expose myself more to the raw elements, the earth, the sky, there is a greater effect. And if you are able to do that, that's quite effective. So when you look up at the sky, for instance, when you're sitting on the ground and then meditating, and then you look up at the sky, and just the realization that you're part of this massive universe, and there's a sky above you, and you just admire the grandeur of the sky. It gets you in tune with that ether element and the sky. So that's also you can actually feel the rush of vibrations when you connect that way too. So yeah, that's an experience. Sure.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I agree. One of the questions that I wanted to ask you to share your experiences was indeed actually about, some may say that our connection as a society to nature is becoming less and less, especially as we're more dependent on technology and we spend like a lot of time inside. I myself also, I work from home all on the laptop the whole day. Sometimes I just forget even to go outside in a day, and I'm sure many people have the same. Unfortunately, I don't live next to the beach. But I do also feel that going out, even just going for a walk and looking indeed up to the sky and kind of feeling the wind, like super simple things like that, already ease my mind so much. So your experience was very relatable. Thank you. Also, I just understood also that on Sunday, we will go a bit deeper into the candle treatment. So if anyone has any more questions about that specifically, we're going to cover that on Sunday. We have another question. What is the ether element? Someone's asking. So,
so I tend to think of the ether as the subtlest of the five elements. You have the earth, which is solid, and then you have water, liquid, so maybe a little bit subtler than, and then you have fire, which is like plasma, and then you have air, so even more subtle, and then you have ether. So one way to think of it is the firmament, it's the space that holds all the other elements. When you take away all of the other elements, what's left in that absolute state, you could say, is the ether. That's the best way that I can describe it. I don't know if there is a scientific technical definition of it. Maybe there is, I don't know. But it's something that's perhaps subtler than air. You want to give it a try, Michelle?
Well, the only example I can think of, that was awesome. And actually, like, I could feel the cool as I don't know if people are like, I like to sit, and a lot of us, you'll see, that practice Sahaj, will sit and hold our hands out as somebody's talking and be like, oh, wow, that's the truth, so you can tell by the cool on the hands. But when I describe sometimes the ether in layman's terms, I'm like, I can send Sudeep a text and he's going to get it in like half a second, right? And that message is traveling through the ether element, right? So it's really powerful, and it can really, work to benefit us and to support our meditations. So, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So I think I don't see so many other questions. Is there anything else that either of you would like to share on this topic of the natural elements, or of the foot soaks, of clearing out, anything that you would like to get off your chest and share with all the participants?
Just one piece of advice you hear Shri Mataji talk about when people are struggling with feeling connected. She says, go into nature, go into the woods, go look at flowers, keep your eyes onto the Mother Earth, so that all you're looking at is, you see children and you see like the flowers in the earth, and that can really clear our thoughts and our mind.
Yeah. So that's fantastic advice, and something that I try to remind myself of as well, especially when you get bogged down by all the worldly stuff, and we're always interacting with worldly stuff. That's unavoidable, but just reminding yourself that you are part of these elements, and they're always there around you. So, and reconnecting with them, especially in a meditative state, is sort of just brings you back.
I agree so much. Thanks so much. I think that's a beautiful conclusion to this evening, and I think it says it all. So I would like to thank both of you, Sudeep and Michelle, for for sharing all your beautiful experiences with guiding the meditations. It was really lovely. And also thanks to all the participants for being here this evening. We hope that you've enjoyed as much as we have. Again, please consult all the resources we have on the website if you would like to know more. You can always ask questions in the WhatsApp group as well. And we're very excited to see you all tomorrow evening again. So thanks so much again, and have a nice evening.
Thank you, Neelam. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye.